there, my name is PolishLynx and we are back! Seduce Me the Otome. Oh, I got dizzy for a second. Okay, Malix, is he a demon?
That son of a bitch is not a demon. He's a devil.
A devil. There's a difference?
Yes, demons come from a different plane of existence called the abyssal planes. Devils, however, come from one of the seven circles of a place humans know as hell. Despite us not being human, we are very different creatures.
We actually have brains, for one. Devils always like to cause trouble and try to kill or torture others for their own enjoyment. Demons, like us, know when to use our powers and when not to. We're not stupid.
Devils follow orders from higher-ups in their order, and their power only comes from their connection to hell. Demons all have free wills and don't rely on where they came from to use their powers.
This was all so confusing. Demons and devils, all magical existed, and I happened to land in the middle of it. What do we do?
You're safe. You've been protected as well.
Eh? What?
What Damien's saying is that the magic that protects this place also protects you.
Your grandfather must have cast it when you last saw him or something of that nature. We can sense its aura around your body.
Eh? I couldn't believe in my ears. It was the third day of surprises and this one took the cake in being the most surprising. I felt my head spin once again. What did I get myself into?
Miss, please don't worry. We'll find a way to train ourselves and become stronger to finally finish this feud.
I'm gonna kick his ass right now!
Until then, we'll protect you as much as we can. If Malix comes back, we'll be here for you.
But what about going outside? Won't he...
Like we said, you have a protection spell on you. Even if Malix attacks you, he won't be able to use his magic on you. He'd be just like any other human you can fight back against.
Didn't you say you knew Taekwondo?
Well, yeah. I felt somewhat relieved that I was mostly safe from Malix. Still, I could not help but feel very nervous and apprehensive about the future. The boys were safe here to train, become stronger, but what if Malix did the same? Even more so, I was lost about how my grandfather knew about magic. I had to find out. At least I had time. I went to bed that night feeling nervous. Despite the words of the Incubi, I felt like a target to something I'd never be able to explain or prove. Magic, devils, demons. How did this all even happen? Should I really meddle with the situation? They are only staying until after they defeat Malix. That's right, they said they'd only stay until after they defeated Malix. After that, my life could go back to normal. Temporary insanity, as Kay would say. The question was then, would I want them to live? If my life went back to normal, then I'd have to care for the house all on my own. I get to focus on my life instead of being distracted by the boys. I'd have to do my life. Where was my life going anyway? I was under pressure from my parents with only my friends and the boys to comfort me. Without the boys, I'd have no way to hide from my responsibilities. Enough, let's just sleep and deal with tomorrow when it comes. Defeating my sense of thought, I forced myself to sleep, unsure of what tomorrow had planned for me. Hopefully whatever the future had for me, I would be ready for it.
I promise to be with you.
Who the fuck are you now?
You're so important.
But who are you?
I swear I'll give my life to you.
Okay, that voice I know.
Please, let
No.
me love you.
I'll be by your side.
Eh?
Always.
I can't imagine living without you.
To be with you.
I love you.
I slowly opened my eyes, letting the voices of my dream echo in my head and forced me awake. I rubbed my eyes before sitting up and looking at my clock. 7 AM. Why am I up so early? I fell back onto the bed and closed my eyes, trying to go back to sleep. However, something kept me awake. Why? It's too early to even be alive. Exactly. I gave up and sat up, staring at the fireplace across my bed. A sigh escaped from between my lips before I threw my legs over the side of the bed. What to do at 7 AM? At 7 a.m. in the morning. Exactly. Make some coffee, work on homework, explore the house. Well, actually, let's explore the house. I decided it was a good idea to wander around the house. I never really explored it as much as a child, so there were bound to be new surprises. Well, come on feet, let's go on an adventure. I stood and exited my room, hoping that the boys were still asleep. I began to wander the halls on my end of the house, opening each door to find what room each door led to. Quickly I found an old office. A desk and chair sat by the far side as a large bookshelf of documents and memorabilia donned its nooks and crannies. There were a couple of pictures of me growing up peeking from the shelf as I walked farther in the room. I don't believe I've been in here before. I tried to recall memories of ever seeing this room, coming up with nothing as a result. This room was new to me. Did I want to disturb the furniture? I'm curious. I gently opened the shelves and any drawers I saw in the room. In a couple of them were books and even sewing kits. I assumed they were used for my grandfather's toys, so I left them alone. One drawer, however, was locked, no matter how many times I pulled. Come on, open! Nothing, it would not budge. The drawer beside it folded, revealing a laptop. Why is there a laptop in a drawer? I lifted it from the drawer and carried it over to the desk and chair. Opening it, it was a high-tech laptop with a retina scanner as a passlock. I was not sure whether or not to try to unlock it or not. Try. I said try. I turned on the computer and leaned my face near the retina scanner, lining the camera up with my eye. To my surprise, I heard a ping from the computer before the screen opened to the desktop. Look at that. On the desktop were documents and folders labeled with different aspects of the Anderson company, taxes, profits, bylaws, products. The list went on and on. If I really did want to become the CEO of the Anderson Toys Company, I had everything about it at my fingertips. That would sure be impressed. One icon, however, stood out from the rest. A folder with a porn. I'm sure of it. Vorago. Yes, that's a folder with a porn. I double-clicked the icon, but no window came up. Instead, I heard a large click come from the drawer that was locked. Oh, so you hide your porn in a drawer. What the? I slowly left my seat and walked over to the drawer, attempting to open it again. It slid open smoothly in the direction of my pulling hand, revealing two books. One was a plain black journal with a tie to keep it closed. The other was bound in leather with cryptic symbols all over the cover. I took out the journal and skimmed through it, seeing my grandfather's notes. They were all detailed explanations and opinions on his findings on demonic magic. He really did know about magic. I sat down at the desk and read through the journal further, finding drawings and sketches of symbols and magic circles, each with their own different meanings and effects. It was all fascinating. There was even a page of important spells to know. I read through them, trying to memorize them into my mind. I don't know what came over me, but I started to feel more energetic and more powerful simply reading my grandfather's notes. I was suddenly aware of the energy that surrounded my body and the power that was around the house. The more I read, the more powerful I became. However, my mind suddenly froze and I found myself walking back to the drawer, putting the book back and closing the drawer. The lock reset and I snapped out of it. What? I shook my head and looked at the drawer, realizing what I had done. I walked over to the desk to open the lock, but suddenly felt the need to stop. Something held me back and didn't want me to pry any more than I already had. I was curious beyond belief, but I obeyed my thoughts for now. Eventually I would come back and look into it. I returned to bed, feeling the wave of the morning drag me under my covers to try sleeping again. I had energy, but I wanted more sleep. It was Sunday and nothing was happening today. Come on, eyes, back to sleep. I shut my eyes and tried to slow my breathing. I looked at my phone to check the time once again. It was noon, yet it felt like I had slept for much longer. Why is time going so slowly? I sighed, got changed into normal clothes and went out to the main hall and sat on the stairs. Sounds were very boring. However, the muffled sounds of battle caught my attention. I quickly went out to the backyard in response to the noise I heard. In the yard were all 5 of the boys practicing fighting. Sam was in the middle with the other 4 surrounding him and throwing punches and kicks at him. Sam, being the strongest of the bunch, blocked and dodged each almost masterfully. Don't disturb them. Actually, I just watched. The boys were very much in their own world, focusing on the training they all were in. It was better not to disturb them. I checked the time and decided to head inside to the kitchen. I was getting hungry and I'm sure the boys would need to eat soon, so lunch was a must. Might as well make lunch today. It's been a while since I cooked. Lunch wasn't particularly hard. I decided to make cold canned sandwiches, simple chicken and rice, pizza. Well, chicken and rice, gotta keep their energy and strength up with protein. I took my time to make almost perfect chicken breasts alongside some rice. Cooking wasn't hard unless you didn't know what you were doing in the first place. I placed the food in the dining room. However, none of the boys were there by the time I brought the final dish out. I carried the dish to the main lobby, catching the boys separating the different rooms of the house. Part of me wanted to go to one in particular. The other part of me wanted to just leave them be and take the food in my hand to my room and eat. Maybe I could go out today while the boys focus on training. Find? I quickly rushed back and grabbed a second food dish before hunting down one of the boys. I couldn't find any of them. I could only shrug for. They knew where the food was, so I went to my room instead and ate alone in my room. So it's not my problem. I turned on my computer and started to jam to music as I ate my food. As I ate, I began to think about going out. There was so many places to go, things to do. Grandfather's grave. Stay in my room. The Pink Lady Cafe. The arcade. And does it matter? Well, the graveyard might lead to some magic thing. Room can lead to nothing. Arcade can do it to one girl and Pink Lady Cafe to other girl. Alright, so I will go to the cafe, whatever. I arrived at the cafe, ready to relax. I didn't want to be stuck at home on a Sunday. Besides, the cafe always had something new to drink, no matter how often you came. I entered the double doors and looked around. Not many people were in, and Kay didn't seem to be working today. Oh well, she can't always be working. I made my way to pastry bar and took a look at what the cafe had to offer that day. There was always something new no matter when you came, which is what kept people coming, myself included. As I browsed through the delights, my mouth began to water. I had just eaten earlier, but the cafe's pastries always look good enough to tease your appetite back in the hungry state. Both the smell and the look of each dessert was carefully crafted to appease. You don't regret buying one and biting into it. I finally made a selection and headed to the cash register to purchase my treat.
What can I get for you?
I will take a couple chocolate and raspberry macarons and a Pink Lady Ladle, please.
Coming right up.
Lily was Kay's assistant, who mainly stuck to the cafe's finances and computer work. However, when Kay wasn't in, Lily took over, becoming the face behind the cash register who gave you what you needed. Lily, where's Kay?
Kay had to fly out to New York suddenly. She said it has something to do with delivering something special to someone. I'm not too clear on the details.
Okay, sounds like fun. Wish I could go to New York.
Don't we all? Here you are. Enjoy.
I took my order to a far corner table and got comfy. The Pink Lady Latte was a cafe special that everyone adored. It was a normal latte with a very subtle raspberry flavor. The foam was pink too. Before I could indulge, however, a voice stopped me.
Oh, hey!
I looked up to see Naomi enter the cafe with a smile towards me. I smiled back, not expecting to see her. Hey, Naomi? Not at all? Naomi nodded before quickly getting herself a coffee, cake slice and a latte and joining my table.
I've been wanting to try their latte for a while. Is it
I
any
have no
good?
idea, I don't drink latte and any type of coffee. Actually, why did you get in then? Why did you get it then? It has a nice raspberry crappy something. This one. Naomi gently blew over her latte to cool it before sipping it, smiling at the taste.
This does taste good. I'll have to get this from now on. The raspberry is a really nice compliment with the coffee.
I giggled. Naomi loved food when it wasn't made in the school cafeteria. She wanted to own a restaurant one day, but always focused on studying the business side. Naomi had natural cooking skills that made grandmothers seem like novices at making your amazing food. You should get macarons next time with the raspberry macarons definitely bring out the flavor in the latte.
I should.
Naomi slowly grew a look of thought on her face as she stared into her latte, probably thinking about food again. It was during these moments that I got to see a simpler, almost beautiful side of Naomi. She was very smart, smarter than me. However, she always had seriousness very close to passion, dedicating her heart to her dream. It was enviable. I sipped my latte and ate a macaron before speaking and breaking her thoughts. Thanks, by the way, for coming to my impromptu party. I know it was last minute and all. Naomi broke away from looking at her drink to looking up at me in surprise, then with a smile.
It was my pleasure, really. I mean, our pleasure. Suzu came too, and all.
Why are you embarrassed? Naomi blushed a bit before clearing her throat and taking a sip of her latte. She then looked to me again with a slight frown.
But hey, how are you holding up from that? I'm sure meeting all those business people was tiring.
It wasn't anything I couldn't handle. It was just the suddenness of it that tired me out.
Well, I'm sure you did great. It was a great party. The food was amazing.
It was amazing. I slowly began to remember the party, remembering how I felt alone throughout it. I wanted to be with my friends, but I had to put on my business air to impress my guests and my father. Did I try too hard? It was supposed to be a simple party, but it felt like a job interview. Before I got too deep in my thoughts, I felt a hand gently cover mine. I refocused my thoughts to reality, seeing Naomi gently holding my hand. Why?
Hey, I know that look. You're about to overthink it. Don't. You did great. I'm sure of it.
I stared Naomi, unsurprised that she caught onto my thoughts, and happy to know that she cared. Thanks, Naomi. Naomi smiled and blushed, giving a small nod. She was absolutely adorable when she smiled like that. I didn't know how, but her smile was able to make the room lighter. Naomi then pulled her hand away, placing it back on her lap with her other hand and cupping the mug, and sipped her drink. Naomi licked her lips and let out a sigh.
This is really nice. A relaxing Sunday afternoon at a cafe.
Should I? Let's go. All of a sudden, Naomi's face turned pink as she looked at me. Confused, I tilted my head and gave her a quizzical look. Naomi, are you alright? You're turning red. Naomi must have snapped out of her trance. She fanned herself and tried to calm down from whatever was on her mind. Let's end the episode here and see what that choice will bring actually. See you then. Bye.